Hey you guys, this is Miss Peterson. I am recording this video at the very end of winter break. So I'm in my apartment, I am looking outside and we just got a bunch of snow in the last couple days. So I hope you all were able to enjoy some of the snow and that you had an awesome winter break. I am looking ahead to our lesson 2.6, which is one of the last things we're going to do in the first semester. We have about 2 weeks left of semester 1. So this is kind of our last lesson before we do our summative of Unit 2. Today, you are going to be choosing a short story that you want to read. There's going to be 6 options, and I'm going to give you a summary of each of the stories so that you can choose which short story you are most interested in. So in this lesson, you're choosing one short story to read, and as you read it, you're going to be filling out a story analysis worksheet, which will be posted on Schoology. Step 1 right now is just to choose which story you're most interested in. You will also use the short story that you're going to choose to read on your final summative next week. So it's really important for you to read this story carefully and for you to choose a story that you are interested in. So let me give you an overview of all 6 of the stories and then you get to choose. So our first short story that you can choose is called Biafra. It's by the same author that wrote Spider the Artist, that other short story that we read before winter break. So it's also in the genre of Afrofuturism. It's in a futuristic society about a woman who can time travel and fly. And she goes home to Nigeria in the middle of a war. And she kind of has to figure out how to help the people in her community who are in the midst of war. They're being bombed, and she is trying to help the people around her. So you should choose this story if you liked Spider the Artist, like if you want to read about that futuristic stuff, if you're interested in real life social, political issues, reading about war, this would be a good story for you. So our second story that you can choose is called How to Survive the Apocalypse for Native Girls. So this story is similar to the genre of Afrofuturism, except it's Indigenous futurism, so meaning it's a story set in the future, but it's about Native American characters by an Indigenous author. The story also has LGBTQ characters, if that's something you're interested in. It's about a girl living in a post-apocalyptic world, and she finds out that her friend and her mentor has been kicked out of the society. So she starts learning some bad things about the place that she lives. She's trying to uncover these mysteries about the society. I really loved this story because it's written in the format of kind of like a diary entry or a letter. And I thought that was really interesting. And if you want to read a story about a teenager who's kind of learning more about the world, how to survive, this is a good story for you to check out. All right, your third option is called The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas. This is a really famous magical realism short story that a lot of people have read. It's about a perfect society where nothing bad ever happens, except there's one really dark secret about this society that makes it possible for everyone else to be happy. So this is, I will tell you it's the shortest story, but it's also one of the hardest to understand. So if you are interested in a story that is short, but it takes multiple times to kind of get, this would be a good story for you. If you're interested in these questions of justice and morality, it's going to leave you with a lot to think about. So there's also an audio recording for this story available if you prefer to kind of listen to someone else read the story. So that would be a good choice for you. Okay, our fourth story is called Rat and Finch Are Friends. This one also has an audio available if you want to listen to someone read this story to you. It is an Afrofuturism fantasy short story that also has some LGBTQ characters in it. It's about a boy. He learns that he's an amusis, which is a human who can shapeshift into the form of an animal. So he can actually turn into a bird. He's told that he's supposed to keep this a secret from everyone at his school, but then he falls in love with another boy who can also shapeshift into an animal. So this is a really sweet story if you want to read from the perspective of a young person, if you like fantasy and kind of magical elements more than science fiction and robots and things like that, you should choose this story. All right. This is a short story called The Veldt by Ray Bradbury. He's a super famous sci-fi author. And the Veldt, that just means like a desert in Africa. And so this is a story, a futuristic story about a world where we have kind of like smart homes, and the parents buy a virtual reality playroom for their kids. But then their kids kind of start having these really violent, dark fantasies that they're playing with. And it becomes a little bit creepy. The kids gang up on their parents. So if you like stories that are creepy and a little bit dark, if you want to read about futuristic technology and kids kind of like taking over that, this would be a really good story for you. There's also an audio available for this story to listen. All right, our final short story. This is the 6th option that you have. It is called Yat Madit. It is sci-fi, Afrofuturism. So it's a futuristic world. A woman, her father was president of the country that she lives in, and then he got arrested and he's been in prison for 30 years. And she's just meeting him for the first time after he gets out of prison. And she kind of found out that he was a really violent ruler, and she is really conflicted about how she feels about her dad in this society. So this is similar to Simple Recipes in that like it's got a complicated father-child relationship. If you're interested in politics and government, you should read this one. And if you're interested in how kind of AI and virtual things influence our world, this would also be a good story for you to read. Okay, so we have a lot of good options. I really like all 6 of these stories, but you get to pick one to read. So think about the summaries you just heard. You can also go back and look at these slides again if you want to reread the summaries. But then you'll go to Schoology, find the link of the story that you want to read, and you can also ask me for a paper copy if you want to read the story on paper. Just a reminder, if you like to listen to audio while you read the story, there are 3 stories that have audio links on them. So that's Rat and Finch Are Friends, The Veldt, or The Ones Who Walk Away from Amelas. So as you read the story, you're going to fill out the story analysis worksheet on Schoology, and then this story will help you complete your summative next week. Let me know if you have any questions, and good luck.